Hey, hello everybody. Eric with Smart Goals here, and today we're going to be talking about case meetings and court appearances. I don't anticipate this video will be very long, probably 4 to 5 minutes. It's going to be a popcorn video, and today we're going to be talking about how to conduct yourself at case meetings, court appearances, how to prepare, things that you are going to want to highlight when it's your opportunity to share, and things you're going to want to take in from other members of the team, or things you're going to want to pay attention to at court. So let's go ahead and get started. So CFTM, or family case meetings. In these meetings, you're going to be invited by the family case manager, and you're there to represent your referral. So perhaps you're doing father engagement, you may be doing home-based services. In the family case meeting, the entire team comes together and discusses the case. As a home-based caseworker or whatever you're doing for the client, it's going to be very important that you're prepared for this meeting. Let's talk about how to prepare for a family case meeting. Number one, you're going to want to make sure that the case manager, the family case manager, the official DCS case manager, or Child Protection Service case manager, as is known in some states, has sent you a formal invitation. It's not just enough for them to verbally invite you. They need to send an email, or at bare minimum, a text message over to you, so that your agency knows that you have been invited to the meeting and that they can bill for it on the back end office side of things. You can also want to prepare by reading over your monthly reports, your weekly reports if your agencies require that, and make sure that you know the ins and outs of the case. When did it start? The progress that is happening from your perspective. Whether or not the client is compliant with services, whether they've refused services along the way. All of this stuff you're going to want to know. You're going to want to be as prepared as possible. It's also very important that you know the treatment plan goals, timelines, and the expectations. In the beginning of the case, when you received it, you should have started creating treatment plan goals. And hopefully those treatment plan goals are SMART goals. They're specific, they're measurable, they're attainable, they're relevant, and they're timely. If you need more information about treatment plan goals, I have a video on that. But you're going to want to know your treatment plan goals. You're going to want to know timelines, like, okay, client's supposed to find a job. What's the time frame for them having, landing that job? Maybe the client is taking parent education classes. How many classes are there in total? How many classes have the client completed? And what's a reasonable time for the client to complete the remaining classes? These are all things that are tied into the treatment plan goals and things that are best articulated using the SMART goals method. Also, at the team meeting, you're going to be surrounded by other professionals, therapists, counselors, domestic violence workers, transportation people. The family obviously will be there as well. The case manager will be there. There may be attorneys there representing the family or representing DCS. These case meetings could be as small as 5 people. It could be as large as 20 people. It really just depends on the complexity of the case. So you want to do your part and be prepared. I would also say in your preparation, you should be prepared to confidently assert your views while intaking everyone else's perspectives. Sometimes in these team meetings, there can be an element of group thinking. And though group thinking is important and everybody should be on the same page, don't forget that you're an individual provider and professional, and your views have just as much weight as the next providers. And I'm not saying that in an arrogant way. What I am saying is make sure that you're advocating for your client when appropriate. Make sure you're advocating for your agency when appropriate, and make sure you're most importantly, I should say, make sure you're advocating for what's right in the case. Always go with what's right in the case, and you're never going to have any issues down the road. Don't give in to groupthink if you believe that it's going to negatively affect the case. Work with the rest of the team to come up with a better understanding, figure things out at these case meetings. Sometimes they're a little bit contentious, just to be honest with you. Sometimes they're a little contentious, but at the end of the day, we're all coming together for the good of the family. And if everybody comes into case meetings or CFTMs with the spirit of, we're going to do what's best for the family, we're going to involve the family in the buy-in, things get done, and things get done a lot more efficiently without all of the emotionalism that can come with a bunch of professionals meeting up with different views and perspectives on things. moving on. Oh wait, staying on the same page of case meetings, you want to make sure that you're documenting appropriately. So during a team meeting, I would have a pencil paper out and just jot out some quick notes. Now, there may be other professionals there with iPads, phones, and laptops, and they may be on it. I have personally found that that can be a little bit distracting. I would personally prefer paper and pen. I think that's a little bit more professional, and it has less, it's less likely to be interpreted as you being distracted or you doing something else. Okay, make sure you document. You're going to want to write up your report. Follow your agency's recommendations on how to write up a CFTM or case report, and then make sure that you are submitting that in a timely manner. Okay, let's move on and talk about court appearances. Court appearances are fun. You're going to want to make sure that you're prepared for court. Make sure that you're dressed appropriately, guys. I would say this: jeans may be appropriate, but make sure you're putting on a suit jacket or something, a nicer jacket just to bring it all in. I'll give you an example, like what I'm wearing right now, right? I'm wearing a fleece. I think that's what these are called. Now, but if I were to put on a jacket with this, like a sports jacket, a suit jacket, and button it up, that would be appropriate for court. In most cases, right? It just depends. But you don't have to go overboard. You don't have to put on your Sunday's best, but you certainly should be professional. Court can be held online and it can be held in person. Now, let me tell you a couple things about this. This is super important, man. If you don't hear anything else in this video, remember this. Do not, under any circumstances, appear in court online while driving or in your car moving. It's okay to be in your car during court, but don't be driving. If a judge catches you driving while court is happening, there may be some issues and the judge may call you out in court. Don't do it. Park your car. Trust me, I've learned not to multitask while appearing at court. I could tell you 2 stories in particular, but I don't want to run over my time. But I'm sure you're not driving in court. Make sure you're dressed appropriately. Make sure you're just as prepared as you would be if it was a case meeting, right? Make sure you know the treatment plan goals. If the client's compliant, make sure you're telling the judge the truth. Don't try to water down the truth. Don't try to accommodate your clients by not sharing things that you should be sharing. Be honest in front of the judge. Remember, this is sworn testimony, okay? You don't want to get yourself jammed up trying to protect your client. Tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Make sure that you have a formal invitation to court as well. The family case manager should be sending you a court invite, but if they have not sent you a court invite and court is coming up, ask them to email you some type of documentation that they want you to appear in court. And make sure you're there, right? You don't want to be held in contempt. The family case manager has invited you to court because you have a perspective that the judge needs to hear, and it's appropriate for you to be there, so you got to be there, okay? And then lastly, make sure you're documenting appropriately during court and relaying that information to your supervisor, and you and your supervisor can work on how to write that report. Sometimes when you're writing court reports, it's a little bit, to me, it's best practices to be a little bit more ambiguous in what's discussed. I typically will write notes and just simply say, I was invited to court, I gave testimony, I gave this perspective, I talked about these treatment plan goals and what's happening, the end, okay? But work with your agency or your supervisor to figure out how they want you to write or how they want you to document those court appearances. As far as billing for case meetings and for court, just depends on the agency. Some agencies pay a flat rate. Some agencies pay per hour. Okay, so get with your agency about that. Last thing I'll say about case management and about court is that it's super important that while you're at court, while you're in these team meetings, that you're doing your best to represent yourself as a professional, because this is a small industry, right? People move from different agencies, from different fields to get in here. And once you're in casework, you typically stay in casework for a long time. So make sure you're putting your best foot forward. Make sure you're articulating yourself respectfully. Make sure you're respecting your colleagues. Try not to get too much into the emotionalism that can get involved when a bunch of providers come together for the good of the client. Tempers can flare and things can get pretty crazy, but remain in control of your emotions. Do your best to collaborate with other members of the team. Make sure you're representing your agency well, and always name drop your agency. Always name drop your agency. Hey, my agency handles this. Hey, my agency may be able to, you get the point. Always represent your agency well, represent yourself well in case meetings and at court, and just period in this industry, okay? Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I know it's almost 10 minutes. I ran over a little bit, but hopefully this information will help you along the way. Again, today we talked about family case meetings and we talked about appearances at court. Guys, I want you to have a blessed day. Feel free to watch some of my other videos. This is Eric with Smart Goals, and I'm out.